You're welcome into the world of the headlines, the stories, the dailies. This is Freshly Pressed on the Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. This is your Love Music, Love Live station. It's a Friday morning, a cold Friday, a feel good Friday, final day in the working week. I know you are excited. I definitely am. I get to put my feet up, relax, and have a good time. Apologies for not coming up on the show yesterday. I had to get myself back to 100%. A little bit under the weather, but hey, I'm feeling good this morning back here with you to make sure that you get the best of the best of the best as always. And you know how we always do. It's an interactive session. What happens is we get the stories, we get analysis, and you get to share your thoughts, opinions, and POVs, points of view with us as well. So all you need to do is to send a message in on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live. We are at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, joining me this morning are two very fine gentlemen who definitely know their onions in the persons of Joseph Obari and, of course, AB Bozimo. AB, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sir Ayo. Good morning, Sir Joseph, and good morning to all of the wonderful listeners out there. Let's make this a funky, fun Friday.
Joseph, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Ayo. Good morning, AB. Good morning, listeners. It's good to be here again.
Yes, indeed. It's great to have you both on a Friday and looking forward to some fireworks this morning. And we shall begin in the Punch newspaper. Joseph, let's talk about FCCPC. I think this is the second time I'm going to talk about them this week. But anyways, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has sealed off France, Belgium, and Italy visa centers located at the Mukhtar El Yaqub House Central Business District in Abuja. The office was sealed with the combined efforts of operatives from the FCCPC, the Nigerian Police Force, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps as staff of the center resisted the sealing. Now, sealing of the center on Thursday, Director of Surveillance and Investigations of the Department of the FCCPC, that's Mrs. Boladale Adeyinka, said the move was due to the failure of the center to receive a letter of the commission to investigate a consumer complaint. Just like I said, the second time I'm talking about the FCCPC this week, which seems like a lot in the grand scheme of things. But looking at what has occurred here, could you give us a sense of the incident and if this is what the FCCPC should be living up to each and every single time issues such as this come up?
Well, okay. So to start with, the law seems to give them the powers to take actions against those who are obstructing their services. Um, and it's sad if people don't respect a federal agency that tries to regulate or ensure that consumers of any product or services are getting satisfied delivery of service. TLC may be working for embassies, but that doesn't mean that it should disrespect Nigerian law. We have laws for a purpose. And if they feel that there is the complaint against them is not justified, it's for them to respond. If they cannot send their representative, they can send their lawyers or with somebody from the company to represent them, and then they hear the complaint. But to rough handle federal officers and harass them and so on just because you're working for some embassies, European embassies, is untenable. I mean, it shouldn't be accepted. Now, does the commission have the power to seal a premises that where they are being obstructed or being harassed? Yes, they have the power. The section 157, 158 or so, I think, of the Commissions Act empowers them to take actions against organizations or individuals who try to obstruct their activity. So that's aside from really the complaint itself. The complaint has not even been investigated and
Right.
adjudicated on. Yeah, so that's a different matter. This one is that they are trying to get you to come so that they can listen to the complaint against you, and then
Mm.
you obstruct them and you beat up people and so on. It's only in Nigeria you can try such nonsense. And so I feel it may seem it's heavy-handed, but they don't have any choice if that's the way language they will understand, you know. So the act gives them some powers to be able to act against people who are resisting them. And in this case, they mobilized security agents and went over there and ensured this. I think that building is such a big building, though. I think it also houses the company that processes the UK visa as well. And so
Okay,
if
okay.
they seal the building, my only concern is that some people who are not directly involved in this,
Involved.
yeah, may also suffer the consequence of their action. So they have to weigh these things very carefully and see what best approach they have to adopt to it. Even if they ask you to, you have the power to seal the premises or a particular business, can you ensure that those who are innocent are not impacted? That's my only concern.
And that actually is a big concern. AB, looking at this particular situation, just said something very, very instructive. Now, he said that it's usually Nigeria that these sort of things happen. Now, when you see some of these, should I say, in quotes, these foreign entities that feel like, okay, they have the effrontery, the power to do certain things because, oh, we're Nigeria, anything can fly. Can we say that this is sort of a wake-up call that we will not be taking these sort of behaviors? And also, still talking about the FCCPC, like I said, second time this week I'm talking about them. I spoke about them on Tuesday as regards air peace and the issues there. Is this a good thing for the FCCPC to finally wake up to the responsibilities where the Nigerian citizens are actually concerned?
The day man wakes up is said to be his morning. It may have existed only in letters before, but if indeed they are attempting to investigate situations and cases, and any group of persons or people feels that they're above and beyond the law, then unfortunately for those who are caught in the crossfire, they have done, in my view, the right thing. And let's not forget, I suspect very much that this place is not being necessarily run by those foreign embassies, but I have no idea really. Whatever the case, when you are merely being served the letter from the story, they rough-handled the people trying to serve the letter, rough-handled security people with them. That is utterly unacceptable. So sadly, like you said, there are people who just had appointments, who have traveled from elsewhere to come and get a document or submit a document. They now can't access. But I think from a video I saw, they are sealing maybe the doors to their office, perhaps not the entire building. So people maybe in other, in other offices or suites in the building may not be affected. But certainly, whoever, sometimes you might find that the people on the inside of the office are unaware that their security, quote unquote, outside are doing, do you know who I am? Which is one of those
Mm.
funniest questions that Nigerians ask. And I
Mm.
always tell myself, if I'm talking to somebody who's asking me, do you know who I am? I will ask the general public, please, do you know who this person is? Because clearly he doesn't know his own name. I don't know why you ask me, do you know who I am? I don't care who you are. If there's an issue, let's address it. So I think, heavy-handed as it may appear, it is a necessary first step for people to calm down. And whoever was, I say again, this is often the purview of those external security who are being overzealous. I don't know whether that's the case now, but if that's the case, those people should be sacked, fired, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Mm. All right. Thank you for sharing those very strong words there, AB. And I'm going to stay with you right now as we keep things moving. We're still going to stay in the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's talk about the World Bank and the federal government. The federal government, in partnership with the World Bank and other development agencies, has reaffirmed its commitment to improving rural infrastructure and access through the scale up of the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project. At the early market engagement event held in Abuja on Thursday, stakeholders from across the public and private sectors gathered to prepare for fresh procurement opportunities under the expanded RAAMP initiative. All right, AB, you want to walk us through this one?
Now, this RAAMP is a multi-agency initiative which is focused on rehabilitating rural roads, enhancing agriculture value chains, and strengthening market infrastructure in underserved communities. So there is plenty of merit in this initiative because Nigeria happens to have almost 1 million square kilometers, with over 60% of that area being arable land. On a good day, we have absolutely no reason not to be able to not just feed every single individual inside this country, but to become a major exporting nation. And we know that farming is not done in our urban centers. Farming is done mostly in outlying and rural areas. So this initiative, this whole meeting was supposed to be like a pre-meeting to discuss the issues that arise and, to prepare all the necessary people from vendors to procurement officials and all that, so that they are positioned when this initiative comes alive. I think it's a very positive thing. I think the one thing that I'm concerned about is as much as I'm looking forward to seeing this being brought to light, I worry about that key thing called security, because you can have all the farming you want and all the positive indices. If the farmers themselves are subject to murder and terror, then those roads will have nobody to convey goods. So side by side with this laudable initiative, we must focus on security aspects. Just a few days ago, I think 21 farmers were murdered. I don't like all this, take their life. They were murdered. And this has been an ongoing thing. So whatever we are doing, at the center of it has to be the provision of security. First of all, for those who are making these roads, because workers must be sent out to do these roads. And then subsequently, for the entire community, not just the farmers, even non-farmers in the rural areas deserve to be safe too. So good initiative. It can have very long-lasting positive effect, but security has to be part and parcel, indeed central to all of this. Then we can begin to reap the benefits ultimately.
I'm glad you mentioned security there, AB. Before I leave this story and move on to other stories, concerning Benue with Joseph and all that. There's a saying that goes, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." Now, we've seen a whole lot of different initiatives and ideas and think tanks and so on and so forth that have been put forth. There's a lot of theory, but we always have the problem of executing. Execution is always an issue. The game plan always looks so good on paper. All the tactics, 4-4-2, 3-4-3, everything looking good on paper. But get onto the pitch to actually play the game. It always seems to be an issue where we're concerned. Do you think this is something we can surmount in this particular initiative?
If we put the proper professionals in place and institute a proper project management context and reporting and have well-defined milestones and all that, it is possible to overcome our long-term problem of execution. You're right. There is no dearth of good development plans from Gowon's time, and I'm sure before. But it seems as if when it comes to the pitch, like you say, that's when we seem to fall foul. I think this initiative can work. I just want to hope and believe that those who are tasked with executing it will put in place all the necessary, you want to call it infrastructure in terms of project planning and execution, and we can get much better outcomes ultimately. It's a project. It can deliver if the right people and resources are put in place.
All right, thank you for that, AB. All right, Joseph, I'm coming back to your table. We're still staying in the Punch newspaper here. We're talking about Benue. Yes, Benue is still in the news, as it has to be. We need to keep talking about the issues surrounding what's going on over there. The Chief of Defense Staff, that's General Christopher Musa, has revealed that some residents of Benue State aided the gunmen who carried out the recent massacre in Yelwata community, which left over 150 people dead. Musa stated this on Wednesday at a media briefing at the defense headquarters in Abuja. Now, he said the attackers were not only harbored by locals, but were also fed, provided with women, and guided to the location of the internally displaced person's camp. These are huge allegations coming from the CDS, but not dissimilar to things that we've heard about even in other parts of the country where there has been insecurity, where the locals have been, fingered as being involved or aiding and abetting those who perpetrated these absolutely heinous crimes. Do you think the CDS is on point with this one, or they just need to actually get these people? I mean, if he is saying that some people are actually involved, responsible, then they're human beings, they're not ghosts, they can be found.
Well, Ayo, when you read the stories like this, you kind of your the hairs on your head kind of stand up, even though I don't have any hairs on my head, but it just literally stands up right now because Ayo, it's you ask yourself, it raises a whole lot of questions. Here is a chief defense officer coming to tell us that some people were involved in sheltering these people, feeding them, giving them comfort and all that. The natural question you ask is how many of those people have been arrested?
Question one.
How many of them have you arrested? Don't come and tell us. Don't come
Like
go to a
gossip.
because if my days as a journalist, I will ask you this question.
The president
I
also
will
asked the
ask
same
you.
question.
Yeah, so please, how many of them have you arrested? Because it means that you had some kind of intelligence.
Mm,
Because before you come out to say this, and I find the chief of defense staff always contradicting himself. On one hand, you say you're helpless. He sounds helpless that we don't know how we're going to do. These people are infiltrating the border. The manning the border is not your business. Your responsibility is to protect the sovereign integrity of Nigeria. So any group of people that come into Nigeria, however they come in, your own is to make sure that you take care of them. And he says on one hand that they didn't get intelligence, people, the community didn't tell them. And then on one hand, he says that the information, the intelligence they got misled them to somewhere else. For goodness sake, this is the chief of defense staff sounding so illogical. And sometimes when we speak like this, it will seem as if we are criticizing government or whatever. But this is when there is clear illogicality, you say what it is. Because it makes no sense. You cannot tell me on one hand that you didn't get intelligence. On the other hand, you said you got intelligence that misled you. So if you are an intelligence officer and somebody is misleading you, can't you detect, can't you? And of course, from those who live there, we've been told that where these things happen, this incident happened, is is just across from a military formation. So for 5 hours, there was an operation in a community, and the chief of defense staff tells us it's a hit and whatever the expression is using.
hit or run
So
tactic is
our
what he
military
what he said.
couldn't hear a military that is a community located earshot from, you could hear gunshots for 5 hours. They didn't hear the gunshots. So even though they were misled to a different direction, they cannot regroup and find their way to the place where the gunshot is coming from. So it raises a whole lot of questions. And for my media friends, our colleagues in the media, it's becoming embarrassing. An officer cannot come before you and tell this kind of porous, useless, meaningless story, and you cannot ask him critical questions. Critical questions. Those who live in these areas in Benue, they are telling us there is a very close, just I say a friend from the fence of not far from the fence of the military formation. Then people operated for 5 hours, burning houses, killing and doing everything. And we say, oh, we were misled to another place. We didn't hear gunshots. I mean, for goodness sake, when I hear these things, I don't know. It just make me feel sick. It's disappointing. Very disappointing. We failed these people. We failed Benue people, and we should be bold enough to apologize to the people and say, we're sorry. The army should say, well, the military should say, we failed you. The government should say, we failed. Of course, the government that is busy doing a jamboree when their people were killed, organizing colorful reception and throwing banquets. For goodness, what kind of people are we?
Maybe.
You know, one word. I hear these stories all the time. 200 people killed, 50 people killed. I think we should stop normalizing grouping murdered Nigerians and others as just people. We should begin in our media to do a roll call because each of these people had a life, had dreams, had hopes, have relatives. It's not enough to say 200 people were killed. Let us begin to put their names and their pictures, and if it is one line of biography about them, so and so, Musa, so and so, a farmer, so and so, a student. So, because I think we have got to a point where we're just numb, and we must never fall into that thing where it's just a set of people killed, because God forbid, let not be any of us who happen not to be right now in the line of fire, who I don't think any of us would want ourselves just be called one of the 200 people killed. It's not good enough as a
So,
society that we just, yes, my brother, go
sorry,
on.
sorry, even the number is being disputed by government. Because at
Of
the
course,
event,
as always.
when the president came, they actually said 59 persons.
Listen, 59 persons is 59 people too many. Let
Yeah,
me even
it's too
take that
small.
number.
Yeah.
Very
Let me
true.
even
Very
let me
true.
even take that number. I will, just for this conversation, I'll take that number and say those 59 persons must be identifiable. When people were going around sycophantically praising and clapping for meaningless statements by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was there asking why you haven't arrested people. If somebody has not done the job, why don't you sack him? Why are you asking? Who are you asking that they have not arrested people? The only person who was a man in that room was the tortive of Benue, who told the president to his name, to his face, that this whole misnomer of farmer header clash is a lie. It's wrong. It is pure murder and terrorism. And nobody else had the nerve to tell the president. But we have been saying it every day on this program. I say it every day and I'll repeat it. There is no such thing as a farmer header conflict. No farmer has ever picked up his land and gone and clashed with any herder. It is terroristic herders who come and prey on people. They may not be herders, but terrorists of any sort. And he called it what it is. It looks like genocidal land grab. He said it to the president. So the president cannot say he has not heard it. Whatever people
Right.
are telling him to go and make, he said that it is the wrong prescription, at least to meaningless statements like go and make peace. Somebody comes, murders you, and you make peace with them. How can President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually say a thing like that? We have failed the people of Benue, and we keep failing people in other parts of the country when we don't do our work properly as security people. And I know the Nigerian security forces are capable. They need proper leadership.
Talking about proper leadership, let me take a comment or two on WhatsApp before I come back to you, AB. Philip Inakomo just says, the comments of the CDS on being misled shocked me. Complete detachment from reality. I think they have created the cocoon for themselves and see what is happening in Benue State as very far from them. The human toll means nothing because their families and friends are not involved. This is Tony Nisola. Tony says the CDS should be relieved of his duties immediately because he's clearly trying to shift the blame to the unfortunate victims. But of course, some people will defend him and he will retain his job. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. It seems is what we're facing in Nigeria at the moment. All right, before I take the rest of the messages, let us talk about some health-related matters. This is coming out of The Guardian, where Nigerian health technology company Codex Bio Limited has announced plans to begin large-scale local production of HIV and malaria rapid diagnostic test kits in response to anticipated shortfalls stemming from recent U.S. aid reductions. The development follows funding cutbacks by the United States Agency for International Development, that's USAID, which has been a major financer of health interventions in Nigeria. Now, in 2024 alone, USAID allocated $740 million to Nigeria for programs including HIV prevention, malaria control, and vaccine delivery as well. So it took that move by cutting funding for us to realize that, hey, we can actually do something where this is concerned.
You know, the USAID, no matter your perspective about it, can be said to have been set up with good intention. Again, the road to hell is paved with good intention. With good intentions, it was also a projection of soft power by the United States and also valuable aid. But let me ask you, I think it has existed for over 60 years now. I may be wrong. If you started helping somebody at infancy and they reach 60 and you have not finished helping them, who is at fault? You, the helper, or the helpee? As a country, Nigeria had no business up to 2024 relying majorly on anybody but ourselves for producing these things. So in what looks like a feel-good Friday story, I am happy to hear that a company in Nigeria, hopefully of Nigeria, is now beginning to do large-scale local production of HIV and malaria rapid diagnostic test kits. Listen, this is an initiative long overdue. Do I say we can't have help from anybody? No. All of us at some point in life can benefit from help. But the self-sufficient, with the amount of scientists in this country, the amount of initiative, energy, the youth to be employed, there is no reason why this shouldn't have happened. So this could be said to be a positive fallout of the America First thing of Donald Trump. I've always held that if Donald Trump did America First and Nigeria, Tinubu did Nigeria first and bought Innocent rather than Cadillac, maybe we'll be getting somewhere. But so far, they're doing America first. We're doing France first, from what I see when we travel. That's on a separate note. So kudos to Codex, kudos to, and good luck to all those who will be involved. There are so many roles that are involved. There's the production, there's the marketing, there's the distribution, there's warehousing, there's packaging. There are so many possible things that come out of this initiative. And most importantly, it gives a valuable tool for health professionals to utilize in quick diagnostics for Nigerians in Nigeria. So all around, this ultimately, even though it's a fallout of the USAID withdrawal of funding, is a good story for Nigeria. Let us replicate this in every sphere and at every level so that we can actually employ Nigerians in Nigeria doing things for Nigerians.
All right, Joseph, you have a word to add before I take the rest of the messages.
Well, for me, I think it's just that it's the recognition of an opportunity. So when this aid is withdrawn and then we are all worried about how somebody was able to recognize an opportunity and capitalize on it. My only hope is that whatever is being produced is done to the best international standard. Because one of the problems we've had with manufacturing of products in Nigeria is the standard, the quality of what we produce. When you compare them to what you get somewhere else of the same product, even the Coca-Cola we drink doesn't taste the same with what is produced elsewhere. So that's some of those are the kind of things I think we should begin to pay attention to standards, to quality.
Speaking of Coca-Cola, I've been to the Coca-Cola Museum or factory in Atlanta. There are like 39 different flavors around the world. So that to that extent, they can mix them for different palates, just to be fair. And I will say, one thing is that most of these manufacturing things are done with equipment and there's a standard. I'm just saying it's only when we start producing we can even attain and exceed international standards. If we don't ever produce, we can never get there. So overall, while your caution is well noted, I think the overriding positive comes out of this kind of potential story. But we wait and see how it goes. Well done.
Definitely.
All right. Let me take your messages, Lagos. This is Emeka Inikeja. He says, on the Benue killings, just note that until Benue decides to resist and fight back, the so-called herder terrorists, they will always be killed. I won't take the last line. I don't think it was necessary, but I get your point, Emeka. Thank you for your message. This is Eddie Murphy says, this Sankara story by the CDS has just justified late General Abacha's statement about government's involvement in insurgency. Tony Marine Beach says, I'm short of words. I feel like crying for my country this morning on hearing this kind of statements from the army. We were misled. for 5 whole hours. Why and how can our leaders tell such uncooked and unbaked lies? Kai, this country is in trouble. Daniel Infestack says the media in Nigeria has been exposed by the Benue killings. No investigation by most media houses. Lots of rumors and hearsay and failure to interrogate the government agencies and the state and federal government. I heard about these murders from the Pope first, not Nigerian media. That is a very, very damning thing when you think about it. Joseph Many in Silver State Ejigbo says, it's just pathetic that Nigeria is in dire straits. How do you explain all what the CDS is saying to defend a massacre? The Nigerian army ranking third in Africa. Let our leaders stop all theatrics of playing politics with human lives. A sitting governor can declare holiday for a jamboree and campaign for the presidency rather than the mourning. God bless Nigeria. Okay. Adeboye Gadidiji says, not until I see heads of top military personnel, FG security personnel ruling and prosecuted for negligence, incompetence, and aiding and abetting bandits and terrorists in the killings that has engulfed the nation. I will never take President Bola Tinubu serious on fighting insecurity because it's a known fact that these killings are done with collaboration of some military personnel. Let me just summarize that there. Barrister Danukuda says, square pegs in round holes is at the root of this poor security management. We should prioritize competence in appointments. Ideally, we should, but hey, this is Nigeria, as Fal said. Ajayi Olunilowa in Magudu GRA Sherry says, the CDS continues to raise alarm and making allegations about people aiding terrorists instead of telling us what he's doing to arrest such saboteurs and bringing them to justice. God help us. And this is from Ade in Lagos says, for the show of shame on Wednesday, the governor of Benue, who doesn't have sympathy for his people or value the lives of its citizens. Imagine more than 200 people killed in a swoop. Do you know the amounts killed under this government since when it resumed? And he's making a triumphant entry of the president by compelling little children into the rain to do eye service. And I need to summarize that message as well, Ade. It's a long one. Try to help me to, shorten the message. I know you have a lot of thoughts, but just try to summarize, make it more concise. Thank you very much for sharing that. We have to call it a morning. Thank you so very much to you, AB, and to you, Joseph.
All the time, always a pleasure.
If there was ever a time for a state of emergency to be declared, it should have been in Benue. Hundreds people dead. But no, it's in Rivers that there's a state of emergency with nobody dead. I just want to put that out there for us to ponder over the weekend. That said, I am happy with a couple of the stories we had today, except the Benue security story. And I think Nigerians listening have a lot to think about what we expect from those who purport to be leaders of Nigeria. Let's go ahead and do the best we can this Friday and every Friday. God bless all listeners. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thank you, Ayo.
All righty.
Greetings to every listener, and I wish you a safe weekend. Happy weekend. Thanks.
All right, then. Have a great weekend, gentlemen. And thank you all for being a part of the show Freshly Pressed from Monday all the way till Friday. It's going to be back again on your radios on Monday at 7:30 a.m. But the smooth breakfast hasn't even scratched the surface yet. 8:15, we're going to take a walk into the locker room. Tego will be in to take us into great sporting action.
Oh.